What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, thanks for tuning in. Today we got the very first upgrade for the 5.9 Cummins over there, sitting all nice and pretty. Got the very first upgrade going into this truck. I have given a lot of build advice to people over the last 3 years. I'm not an expert on any of this stuff, but people tend to ask me for build advice. What would be the first thing that you do to a truck? And for me, the first thing I always recommend, especially if you're going to be building for power down the road, is to get a good set of gauges for the truck. Get to know your truck. And I did a video a while back, something called like the best gauge system for any diesel truck or something along those lines. And in my 7.3, I had the Edge CTS2. I think probably in the last year, I think it's been, Edge came out with the CTS3, had a little bit of quirks in the beginning, some programming issues. But I can say now, after helping one of my buddies install it on his truck, it seems like things are worked out on it, and these things are sweet. I was really close to getting one for the 7.3 and getting rid of the CTS2. I just didn't want to buy a whole nother setup. But these things compared to the CTS2s look like a very, very nice upgrade. So, of course, I ended up picking myself up one for the new truck, and I am pretty excited to get it started. Like I said, people always ask me for build advice, and probably one of my number one things is getting a good set of gauges. And my mindset behind that is before you start changing a whole lot of things on your truck, it is a very good idea, in my opinion, to get to know your truck. Now, there are a lot of gauge systems out there. I'll kind of go through and give my thoughts on them probably at the end of this video, kind of comparing some different systems. But I honestly think the Edge Insight is the best system out there. I won't make you guys listen through it at the beginning of the video, but I think at the end of the video, I'll kind of just give you guys some talking and let you guys know why I think what I think. So you guys can either choose to watch all the way to the end or just to the end of the install. So I'm going to get to work, kind of try to figure out where I'm going to route some things. Let's show you guys what we're looking at. Of course, got to give the 7.3 a little bit of love. She is had her photo shoot for her for sale ad, and by golly, she is looking fresh and pretty. Man, I'm gonna miss looking at her. All right, so obviously in the cab of the truck, get this out of the way for any guys wondering what these are. I'm in a wheelchair here. Those are my hand controls. That's how I drive the truck, and unfortunately the hand control I had in the Ford over there didn't work on this truck. So these are portable hand controls that I'm working with right now. Not that it affects any of you guys. These things are kind of a pain in the butt, not nearly as comfortable to drive with, but it gets the job done and allows me to drive the truck. So that's what those are, in case you're wondering. On these third gen trucks, I don't know about the early third gens, but I know on these kind of later model third gens, the 06 and 07s, they have this plastic cover and then a metal plate under it. I have no idea why they put the metal plate there. Maybe for rigidity, who knows. But I'm probably going to move that out of the way just to help with routing some wiring so I can see it better. But what we're looking for really is this OBD2 port. That's where the CTS connects to, is through the OBD2 port. And I think this panel pops off, if I had to guess. So I'm going to try to pop that off, get the wiring routed, and then I'll kind of show you guys where I routed it, and with the CTS2 up mounted on the dash. This honestly is super easy install. All I have to do is figure out where to route it, plug it in, and it is good to go. So with that, I'm gonna figure out where to route it, and then I'll update you guys in just a little bit. All right, so probably no more than 10 minutes after my last clip, she's basically installed. Obviously, everything's not buttoned up because I wanted to show you guys where it's at. But like I showed you guys, the OBD2 port is down there. That's the plug that plugs into it. Sorry, if it's a little noisy out here. A lot of people out working right now. Sounds like a Cummins. Shocker, a very rattly Cummins. But like I showed you guys, or like I thought, this panel did pop off, which made it super easy. This is where I'm going to store the extra wiring. And this is also where I'm going to have my plug-in. For those that don't know, this is how you connect all your extra sensors to the Edge system. Like I had on my 7.3 over there, I have an extra boost sensor, a fuel pressure sensor, an EGT gauge or EGT probe. Those all connect through here. So that's easily accessible, which is nice. And everything is tucked away nice and neat behind the dash. Up here, I'm not 100% sure on this. It's a pretty, I don't know if you guys can tell, there's not much room there. On my 7.3, I could shove the wire up behind that, but this is pretty tight. Right here is flexible, but not so much farther back around. I was hoping I'd be able to bring the wire up back there, but I think for now, I'm just going to kind of have it held in place there, and then back behind the Edge, the wire is just going to go back. And on the back side of the Edge, it's just a HDMI plug. That's it. Nothing fancy, so it just plugs right on in. So I'm going to get this buttoned up, and then we will hook up the OBD2 port and watch the first startup together. All right, we got her all buttoned up, minus that lower dash pad. Ignore my adjustable pedal control, just dangling there. Yeah, she's all good to go. I think I was right. Did sound like a Cummins. Bit of a straight pipe 24 valve, second gen. Second gen explains the rattle, that's for sure. I think it's time to boot this thing up. I haven't done any updates on it. I haven't plugged it into my computer. This is right out of the box, so there's a chance I might need to do a software update, but we will see. Unfortunately, there's quite a bit of bubbles underneath the screen cover. Otherwise, I'd probably keep it. Let's see here. There she is. I'm guessing that is probably the light sensor, so it can adjust or auto dim. Yeah, I'm going to push it all the way into the OBD2 port. Just like that. She obviously got power. I'm guessing I probably have to put the key in to do anything. We'll see. First startup, you guys are learning right along with me. Tell you what, the screen has a different feel to it, but it definitely looks like it's got more pixels to it. Yep, of course, I've definitely read the manual. There we go. That looks like the main screen. Gauges. The screen is definitely more responsive than the CTS2. That's what I'm comparing it to, is the CTS2. I are in the CTS2 for probably about 4 years, give or take, so let's see. If it gets too long, I'll probably skip around so you guys don't have to wait to watch the whole thing. I might have to turn the key to the on position. Yeah, there we go. All right, so let me do that. Right here. Oop. Sorry for the shaky camera work. All right, so it's in the on position. Let's touch the screen to continue. At some point, I'm guessing I have to enter my VIN, or at least on the old setup I had to. Yeah, I don't need the tutorial. Alright. Maybe I don't have to enter in my VIN. Let's fire her up and see what she does. Well, I would say it looks like she's working right off the bat. No VIN needed. that screen looks so much nicer than the CTS2. Like, ridiculously nicer. I mean, it almost has like a matte look to it, but it just, I don't know. Maybe I'll have to hop in the old 7.3 over there and give you guys a quick comparison, but she seems to be working right off the bat, which is sweet. So I got it mostly figured out, I think. I always try to like to match the gauge color to the dash colors, and now these are a lighter green, so I got to figure that out. I know how to change them now, but still working on that part. But as far as actually changing them goes, got it figured out. So let's say I want to change what's reading in the middle. On the old CTS, on the CTS2, is just you tap on the whatever number you're looking at. Now it's a double tap there, and then you can scroll through the menus and choose whatever one you want. You can go up here and adjust it. So if I want to change whatever the color is, I can change. If I want to do a custom color, I do that, and that's what I got to do. I just haven't gone through and actually figured it out. I could change it to a metric if I really wanted to. But yeah, so that's how you go through and change that. I'll give you a quick look at one other thing before we get to my final thoughts on it. So as far as I showed you guys the different layouts you can have, I haven't even touched these other ones as far as putting on what I want. But if you go up to the top, you can choose your camera. If you have a camera hooked up to it, you can choose the different theme settings. I haven't gotten into there yet. But if you want to go through the different layouts, you can go through and delete one of these, and then they have 23 other standard, or I guess 23 total standard layouts you can choose from, and then you can customize it from there. So let's say you don't want this style, or maybe you want this one but fewer PIDs, so you can go through and kind of select that. So 23 is a lot more than what they had before. Also, let's see if it brings me back to the gauges. It looks like it will. You can go through and actually change your background, and this is something that I'll actually have to plug into my computer for. On my other one, I put the American flag in the background because I can and I wanted to. But you go through, change the background, change whatever you want. They got some cool ones. I thought about doing these ones, but they might be a little too bright. I don't like things that are that bright at night. But yeah, overall, pretty darn simple. You can go into the settings and explore all around, change the brightness of different things. I set the brightness levels for daytime versus nighttime. You can adjust the sensitivity on that, on what you want it to be. But yeah, overall, I think I have it set where I want to for now. Transmission temps up on the top left, engine coolant temps on the top right. Surprisingly, they didn't have engine oil temps, so I'm guessing, I don't even know if there's an engine oil temperature sensor on this engine. There probably isn't. They just go off of your coolant temps. They should be roughly the same or pretty darn close. I got my fuel rail pressure, fuel level. I'm curious to see how that one, or how accurate that one is. So I'm actually putting that one up there to mainly just test it. Of course, battery voltage, air intake temperatures, which are high right now because I'm just parked and it's sucking in the engine air. Of course, boost. Once I get my pyro set up, I'll be putting the pyro in the middle most likely, and maybe even just changing this whole setup entirely. But yeah, so that's how she's set up right now. I think she looks, or it looks really clean. It looks like it's a lot bigger, taking up a lot more space, and I still might tuck it farther down. So you can see I got about an inch or two down there, so I'll tuck it down farther, but it's actually not as bad as it looks. This is closer to what my eye level looks like. So you can see it really doesn't take up that much space. It just looks like it blocks a lot of your view from down here. But from up here, it's not nearly as bad. One thing I do want to see is how quick it starts up on the start of the truck. One issue I always had on the CTS2 in my truck, or in the other truck, was if I am just moving the truck or doing something real quick, and I start the truck up, do whatever I'm doing, and then shut it down before it boots up, it would basically freeze up the screen and it would have never shut off.
Not a huge deal. It doesn't take a lot of power, but it's more of just an annoyance where I'd unplug it and plug it back in. That was the biggest issue I had with CTS2, was it not booting up fast enough to do those quick things. So I'm curious to see how quickly it boots up here. And there we go. I'll tell you, that is easily 2 or 3 times as fast as the other one. That's nice. That's much better. For me, it wasn't a huge deal because I actually knew, and I'd usually let it run long enough before shutting the truck back off. But if I'm ever letting somebody like hop in my truck and move it real quick, they usually don't realize that. And so they'll hop in it, turn it on, move it, do whatever they're doing, shut it back off before it starts up all the way, and then my gauges are frozen on. So I think these will be much nicer, and I won't run into that issue at all or nearly as often. So that's a nice little test. I'm going to shut the truck off so you can hear me a little bit better, and go over my final thoughts. A little bit frustrating as a YouTuber. It is like 2 weeks after all of the video you guys just watched. I was going back through, editing the video, and I realized that either I didn't hit the record button or video got corrupted. I have no idea, but the video is not there, so there's no outro that I filmed. Kind of giving my final observations. I did film it, or at least I thought I filmed it. I probably talked for a good chunk of time giving all my inputs on it, but here we are, making a new one. So this is always a little bit tricky doing an outro like this because it's a while after all the footage was taken. Kind of trying to remember what I was all talking about, so if it feels a little disconnected, I'm sorry, but it is what it is. One good thing about this is now I've actually been driving with the Edge CTS for a few weeks now, 2 or 3 weeks now, and I can give a little bit more of an input on it. So I guess I'll just do that. Overall, the install on this thing was super simple. It went in probably 15 minutes. I'm pretty happy with it. Turned out pretty clean. Like I was saying, I don't love the wiring sitting up on the dash, but without actually trimming or doing anything with the dash, I think this is the best way it could be. I could have gotten like a gauge pod or pillar pod thing to mount it in there, and I still might at some point. I'm not entirely sure yet, but I'm pretty happy with how it is now. It really doesn't obstruct the view hardly at all. Yeah, after driving with it for 2 or 3 weeks now, I am still extremely happy with it. It is quick, it's responsive. The screen itself is super nice. It's definitely a higher quality screen than the Edge CTS2. It boots up a heck of a lot faster. The actual touchscreen itself is a lot more precise. Sometimes on the CTS2, it would be a little finicky on not picking up where you were actually trying to press, and so it's kind of a pain to change things while you're driving if you wanted to change a view or an input or a specific measure you were trying to look at. So this is really easy to work with. Don't expect it to be like your iPhone screen. It's a different type of technology. Touchscreen, yes, different type of touchscreen, for sure. So don't expect it to be quite that smooth, but as far as upgrade to the CTS2 goes, it is a very nice upgrade. I'm still kind of getting used to all the measures on the Dodge. One thing that is kind of weird to me is I can't, I don't know if I put this in the video or not, but I can't clear codes if the truck is running, or at least not specific codes that I had. Maybe it'll work on some codes. It was saying that those specific codes I had to have the engine off to clear. I don't know, maybe it's just this generation of Dodge. I know on the Ford, I could clear basically, I cleared every single code I had while the truck was running, so it wasn't any issues. But that could just be the truck itself. I don't know. Not a big deal. I'm trying to think of some things I don't like about it so far, and as of right now, I got nothing. I'm happy with it, super happy with it. Like I was saying, or I think I said, I don't know for sure. If I hadn't said it, I'll say it again. If you have the Edge CTS2, is it worth spending the extra $400 or so to get this thing? I don't think so. This is a really nice upgrade, but if you have the CTS2, I still think that's a good unit that works well. If you have somebody that wants to buy it from you, it might be worth it. I don't know, sell it for half price, pick up the new one. I'd be right on the edge of that. I considered doing it with that truck. Obviously, I didn't. If you are in the market for a set of gauges or a good monitoring system for your truck, and you don't have anything right now, I think the Edge CTS3 is without a doubt the best option on the market. Again, I don't remember if I went into this before or not. I guess I'll try to edit it out in the videos if I didn't, but without a doubt, to me, this is the best system out there. Banks makes their little pod thing that is basically the same exact thing as this, and I think it probably is great. I've never actually had my hands on one or seen them in person, but it looks like it does the same exact thing as this. You plug it into the OBD2 port, it reads all the different stuff your truck's showing, but it's in a little 2 or 3 inch screen. Now, that is nice because it's a lot more tucked away and more concealed, I would say. Looks less flashy, more inconspicuous. To me personally, I would rather have the bigger screen to look at everything. I can only imagine you can only have so many things on that little tiny screen before it gets way too overcrowded. So I really like the Edge CTS for that specific reason. If you don't like the look of the screen and you just want to go with pillar pods, those are a great option too. I have nothing against those. I really like the look of them, and they serve their purpose well, but for the same price, or just about the same price, you can end up monitoring so much more than those ever will. You get 4 pillar pods, and you're stuck with those 4 pillar pods, not to mention all the extra wiring you have to do with them. With this thing, plug it into the OBD2 port, and you can monitor almost every single system on your truck. Yes, you do end up having to buy kind of ridiculously priced add-ons if you want to monitor other things like EGTs and fuel pressure. I'll be buying extra sensors for those, and the price on those is just stupid for what they are, but that's what you get when a company has their own model of line, or whatever you want to call it. They can kind of charge what they want. I know Edge has a universal sensor input that maybe I'll try, but chances are I'll just go with Edge sensors. They're expensive, but in the long run, you're paying maybe a little bit more than you would for pillar pods, and it can monitor many times more things than you could possibly look at. Not even to get into the diagnosing issues or the performance logging stuff that these things can do. You guys already know at this point, I think the Edge CTS, although maybe more expensive in the long run, is far better use of your money than just going with pillar pods or another system. So I think that's where I'm going to call this video. I actually am going to wrap up this video and get started on the next project here pretty soon. Shocker, I'm going to fix some things on this Dodge. I'll save the Dodge jokes for the next video you guys watch, but I'm going to get to work straight on that once this video is done. So there should be another one coming out pretty soon. Hopefully you guys have had a good weekend. This video is probably going up on Sunday, so hopefully you guys have had a good weekend. If you haven't gotten anything done, go do something productive. Even if it's small, do something productive and you'll feel better about yourself. That's what I am trying to tell myself, is get some stuff done. All right, as always, if you guys liked the video, leave it a thumbs up. If you have any questions or comments, leave them down below. And I'll get you guys on the next video.